In this video, I'm gonna go through a 529 plan walkthrough. So we're gonna set up the plan. I'm gonna show you what that looks like. Now we're gonna use the Utah 529 college savings plan, but you don't need to be a resident of Utah in order to use this plan. And in fact, if you don't already know, I'm not even from the state of Utah. I've never even been to Utah, and I'm gonna set it up. So we're gonna see how it is. But before we do, if this is your first time at our channel or you haven't subscribed, click on the subscribe button at the bottom. My name's Travis Sickle, Certified Financial Planner with Sickle Hunter Financial Advisors. So as I mentioned, you don't need to be a resident of Utah in order to use the Utah 529 College Savings Plan. Now, just because it's called the College Savings Plan doesn't mean it's limited to just college. You can actually use it for anything 529 related. So you can use it for K through 12 as well as college and beyond if you want to. So you can use it for education planning. And I'm going to go through the walkthrough. The reason I chose the Utah 529 plan, now it's not the only 529 plan I have set up for my kids, but the reason I want to go through this particular plan is because it actually does a pretty good job for their investments and how it's kind of set up. So I'm going to go through some of those points first, and then we're going to go, and I'm going to pull up my screen, and we're going to go through the setup on the 529 plan. Now, the 529 plan for Utah, there's a few reasons why I like it. First, the fund selection is really good. Morningstar, which I don't like to look at ratings too much, but Morningstar has given it a gold rating in 2018, and it'll probably get it moving forward in 2019 and beyond. And I don't know how long it's been, but they've gotten high marks for the plan for quite some time. And it's primarily because their investment choices are really, really good. And what are those? Mostly Vanguard funds, which I'm sure you've heard of. They're good index funds and they have low costs inside of them, and they're very well known. The other institution that they work with is DFA, or Dimensional Fund. Now, Dimensional Funds was founded by David Booth. And if you don't know who he is, maybe you've heard of the Chicago Business School, which is the Chicago Business School, Booth Business School. So it's named after him, Chicago Booth. So what DFA has done, or Dimensional has done, is they've taken academic research and put it into their investment philosophy and turned it into their investment process. And to put it into perspective, over the course of, I think it was from 1999 to 2018, that 17% of funds had beat their benchmark, or what they're measured against. Now, with DFA or Dimensional Funds, that's 85% of their funds have outperformed their benchmarks. So that's significantly better over that same time frame. And just like Vanguard, they also have low fees. So overall, this 529 plan has a ton of options, very good funds, low fees, really a lot that you would look for when you're looking for a 529 plan. And the last piece before we get into the walkthrough that I think sets this particular plan apart from some others. Now, other plans can incorporate a financial advisor into the plan so they can help you with the guidance. Now, that doesn't mean they get paid or get commissions on it, because they do not. But what's really nice is if you're having that open communication with a trusted advisor who's helping you with the hardest part, which is usually the actual investment choices, then this is a plan that they can step in and kind of give you guidance, and they can look along with you in the actual plan. So it's a nice little feature that some of the other 529 plans, well, you could probably still get a financial advisor to help you on them. This makes it really seamless and it's really easy to set up. So let's jump into the walkthrough and see how to set up this 529 plan. So as you can see right there on their home screen, my 529 earns Morningstar analyst rating of gold for 2018. And okay, so here it says the highest rating 8 years in a row. It's right there, right below that title. So let's go ahead and jump in and see how we can open this thing up. So the button right up here, enroll now, we're gonna click on that, and they've broken it down. So on the left column, you can see the walkthrough. We're at the very top. We're going to get started. We'll scroll down and we'll set up a new 529 plan. So let's scroll down here and keeping current. We're going to check off online, everything I want online. I don't want anything mailed to me. So I'm just going to do that online and we'll go to the next step. So the account owner's information. So you're going to be the account owner, the person setting it up, and your beneficiary is going to be your child. So this is your particular information. So we'll go ahead and you'll fill out your social security number. You're going to fill it in twice to make sure it's correct, your date of birth. Then you're going to go enter in your first name, your middle name, your last name. Are a Utah taxpayer, resident, yes or no? I'm going to choose no. Put in your mailing address, your physical address if it's the same, and then go ahead and put your email address and your telephone number. And then the next screen is for your beneficiary. So this is your child's information. So go ahead and put the relationship to the child, if it's a child, grandchild, niece, nephew, spouse, self, other. Now, if you didn't know, you can actually open up a 529 plan as you as the beneficiary and the account owner, and then you can change it to your child or whoever the beneficiary is at a later date if you want. So if you're anticipating the birth of a child, you can't, since you don't have a social security number, you can't open up a 529 plan as them as the beneficiary, but you can put it in your own name, you as the beneficiary and the account owner, and then flip it at a later date. Although it's very uncommon, you have the opportunity to do that if you're wondering. But for this walkthrough, I'm just going to fill it out as my child because I have 3 kids. So that's how we're going to complete it. So put in your relationship to the account owner, their social security. You have to confirm that. Yes, you do need the social security number of your beneficiary in order to fill this out. So if you're doing it for a niece or a nephew and you don't have their social security number, you have to get it before you can fill this out. And put in their date of birth, their name, their first, middle, last name, their mailing address, their physical address, and then new account certificate. So what is it going to say on the account certificate? Present a certificate to your beneficiary, how you like to receive the certificate. So if you're going to give this as a gift, this is the part that you'd fill it out so you can give it to them. I actually think that's pretty neat. I didn't see that on Florida's 529 plan. Maybe they have it. I didn't see it. But this is actually a pretty neat feature and a pretty good way to give a gift. And you can see their example right there is grandma and grandpa. They're given a gift of a 529 plan, the gift of knowledge. So this part is the successor account owner information. So this is if something happens to you, then the owner of this account will go to whoever you want to succeed you. So if something were to happen to you. So if you click on that box, it'll bring out some information and you can enter it in there. Now you're going to need to know the successor's social security because it's required. And obviously you need to know their name and their date of birth. So just go ahead and enter that in here. I'm going to go ahead and enter my wife's information. So she will be the successor of this account. So to make sure that it goes to my kids. Now this next section is the investment option selection, and it just looks like some disclosure. So I'm going to click on next step, and then you get to choose your investment options. Now I'm not going to go through and tell you what to choose for the investment options because that's going to depend on your particular situation. It's not just based on your child's age, but also how much you want to fund, what is the goal, and what your financial situation is. So that's really going to be dependent on what you're trying to achieve. And of course, risk tolerance is going to be a factor for choosing your investments. But this is the page that you're going to have to select which investments that you want to use. And this is the section that an advisor could help give you guidance on whether or not it makes sense to use the age-based portfolio or a static portfolio. Now, a static portfolio is something that you're going to have to actually affect over time as you get closer to that goal. If you want to reduce the risk and go from, say, equities to more fixed income, which will reduce the risk. If you're worried about volatility or things that are happening in the market, that's what you would take a look at. And for my particular situation, I'm going to use a completely customized static portfolio so I can choose which funds I want to use. But again, you're going to have to go through this investment option with your goals and what you're trying to achieve. So this next page, since I chose a static option, it'll give me all the different fund choices. And that's it. Again, this can seem overwhelming, but this is how you can build a portfolio that fits and is customized specifically for your child's needs for their 529 plan. And you can see the expense ratio. So the expense ratio on that right column there, those percentages with the numbers, that's how much those funds cost. And they're very low. Even the most expensive fund here at 30, I think it's 30.3, which is 30 basis points. That's less than 1%. So 1%, think of 1 penny of a dollar. That's 1%. So this is 0.28 of 1 penny. So that's close to a quarter of a penny. That's how much this fund is going to charge. And some of these at 0.02 or 0.04, those are really low fees. So choose the funds. They have to add up to 100%, and then you have to choose the positions that you want. Now, if you're not certain, you can make changes. You can make changes to these investments at any point. I don't know how often this particular 529 plan will allow you to, but something tells me that you'd be able to change it almost whenever you want with new and existing money. And this next page is just gathering information so they know who you are and where you got their information from. So where did you hear about this 529 plan? Maybe you heard about this YouTube video, or maybe you saw it on a Morningstar site or another advertisement. Go ahead and check it off, or whatever applies for you. So this is the part where you have to fund the account. So it's going to be your initial contribution. So I'm going to click off yes, I would like to make an online contribution at this time from my bank account. Scroll down, and this will be the information from your routing number, bank account information, and then you have to confirm that bank account number again, and then put in the amount that you want to fund it with. And sometimes you might get a little confused here. The routing number is in between those line and 2 dots, and I don't know if they have a name or not, but sometimes the routing number isn't always in the same exact position on every check or wherever you're looking for your routing number versus the account number if you get confused. That's a good way to figure it out. So let me see if I can zoom in really quickly so you can see that. There's that line with those 2 dots right there. That's your routing number. And I'd like to set up recurring. So that's going to be the next after the initial contribution. You can do recurring. So I'm going to do it on a monthly basis. And what's nice is it's already going to show you your existing account information. So that's nice. You don't have to enter it in twice. So the next section is going to be to review all of your information. As you can see, I scrolled right down, so I don't have to sit here and blur out the screen. Click on the next step. And then these are the terms and conditions, the fine print. So go ahead and check off, I have read and understood these terms and conditions after you've read it, of course. Click I agree. And now you get to make a username and password for your account information. And there you can see that I've done it 3 times. So that was really fast. So all I had to enter in was my other 2 kids, their information. So it made it really easy to set up all 3 accounts in probably 10 minutes combined to do all 3. It really wasn't that big of a deal. Now, you want to check your state's 529 plan, especially if you have a state income tax, because there might be a state income tax benefit if you use your state's 529 plan. But you also have to look at, does the benefit outweigh the investment choices? So that's a decision that you're going to have to make. There's also sometimes contributions or matching contributions to the 529 plans, depending on what state you are. Most of the states that I've seen require that you're a resident of that state to get the matching contribution. The only one that I've seen other than that was Florida's promotional $25 match plus the additional $25 match, which I'm pretty certain is over at the end of May. So if it's past May, you're in the state of Florida, then you might not be able to get that $50 for the savings plan. Now, they'll probably redo that, or it'll take on a different form in the future, I'm sure, to kind of help increase the 529 savings rates across the country. But again, look at your state's 529 plan to see if there's any benefits, if those benefits outweigh the other benefits of another plan. You don't have to use the 529 plan from your particular state. So that's usually what most people think, that you have to use your 529 plan because they attach a state name like the Utah 529 plan to the 529 plan, but you don't have to use it. You can use any 529 you want, and they're good anywhere. Now, this is not the prepaid plans. There's a few of them left in the country. These are not the prepaid plans. Those are limiting on where you can use them and how you can use them relative to the 529 savings plans. So make sure that you look at that information before you make your decision. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and leave your comments down at the bottom.